Well, I hope you will all allow me to vent a little bit. As you know, I've been working on this manuscript this morning, and you know, there's been challenges all along with the editors from the publishing house in the UK, and so again, when I suggested having forgiveness for people who have abused us, they again, did not like it, and in thinking about it, it made me really very sad, because the tone, again, coming through the comments was, this is not suitable, there's too much sexual abuse in the UK, readers will not stand for this. And, it just, that combined with one time, last year I was giving a talk in Madison, and I spoke a little bit about, forgiveness for abusers. And there too, people completely, not everybody, the audience was really funny, but, there were like about 5 people in the audience that completely misunderstood what I said and then kind of took over the rest of the thing, as if people think that when you talk about forgiveness, it means not holding the abuser accountable, or ignoring the abuse, or saying the abuse was okay. I mean, clearly that's not what's going on when you talk about forgiveness, Of course abusers have to be held accountable. Of course people have to be prevented from harming other people. Of course it doesn't mean that abuse is okay and we all overlook it. That's not, there's none of that. But that's where some people's minds go when you talk about forgiveness. Whereas forgiveness is really a mental process that you do because you're so tired of hurting and being angry in yourself. It's something where you just reach the point where you say, I have to let go of my hurt. I have to let go of my anger because my hurt and anger are turning me into a bitter, unhappy person who's full of hatred, and that's not the kind of person I want to be. Yeah? So forgiving just means letting go of that stuff, And then on top of that, if we can develop some compassion for the abuser, then we can really heal very well. But here too, boy, this editor just went through the ceiling when I suggested, at some point when you're ready, considering the fact that anybody who abuses or harms another person is doing so because they themselves are in pain. And if we can get a sense of their pain and their confusion, then that can again help us have a feeling of compassion rather than hatred towards them. But it seems like for some people, the mind is so focused in the hatred, or so focused in the hurt, that even the idea of considering, that a person who abused somebody else or a person who murdered somebody else has any other aspect about their character besides that one thing they did. For some people, thinking like that is as if you're saying, everything they did was okay, which it's not. Yeah? And so I was just thinking back, I think I might have even written it in a comment, I don't know, not part of the book, but just to say that one of the most powerful meditations on love, on compassion, that I ever led was in Israel, after where the Holocaust is alive and thriving, the shadow of the Holocaust pervades all of Israel, and the whole political feeling, and if you don't understand that, you can't understand why they do the stupid things they do, But in any case, so I was at a retreat and we got into a discussion about how can you forgive Adolf Hitler? It's like impossible. And so we talked about people having different aspects of their character and people seeing different people differently. And, what must it have been like to have his mind that thought he would find happiness in demolishing human beings? Is a mind that thinks like that a happy, joyful, contented, satisfied mind? Or is that a mind of somebody who is in incredible pain and inner torment? It's clearly not somebody who's joyful and happy. And so if you can really think of that, and of course it doesn't justify what he did, or what Stalin did. Stalin killed even more people, or what Mao Zedong did, who killed millions as well. It doesn't justify or explain away or ignore any of that. But it's just saying that if we can, see their mental states and have compassion, it liberates us. Yeah. And it frees us from the torture of dwelling in hatred. So it made me quite sad that these people, albeit a short book about compassion, you can't go into a deep explanation of all this, but that it wasn't even like something to aspire to do, not even aspire to have compassion for those people. And, this is what's making our society so fractious and why it's so difficult for people to cooperate, because we get so locked into our own emotions and our own views, and feel like we have to defend them, at the cost of our life. And actually, often it costs our life in doing so. So, yesterday I was talking to our friend who's the federal defender, not prosecutor, federal defender in capital cases. And she was telling me, how, because she's been to many executions, how she's never seen one family heal from their grief after an execution. Not one. And then she told me a story about, I guess it's from the case when they wrote about a dead man walking. I think it might have been about this case. But anyway, there was one young woman in it who was in high school who had been raped by this guy. Somehow she lived. And she, her life was like awful for a period of time. And then she actually said, because this guy got convicted and so on, she said, justice didn't help me to heal, but forgiveness did. And there's somebody's first-hand experience of somebody who was traumatized, who found that, inflicting harm does not solve grief. Yeah. So, so I just wanted to be able to say that to a group of people who understood what I was talking about and wasn't saying, you can't say this is unacceptable.